Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Box Score Sports YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ryan, and what we are doing is we are going to be previewing every single NBA team to celebrate tip-off week in the NBA. We're going to have videos of every team's, hopefully 10 minutes or less, of our favorite moves, least favorite moves. We're going to talk about questions, concerns. We're going to predict whether they're a playoff team, a contender, a lottery team, or a play-in team. We're going to hit on all those and every single teams. But before we get into it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts on your favorite teams going into the season or on the team of each video that we will be posting. With that said, let's get into our predictions.
Previewing the Utah Jazz.
So now we'll move on to the Utah Jazz. They are 37-45. 37-45 last year. They kind of were the surprise team in the beginning of the season. I think they were 10-3 or something like that. I don't quite remember, but I do remember them being sort of like a shocker last year. And then they kind of just came, sort of still was, they played really well. Markkanen was sort of a, wow moment, like, oh, he actually is going to be a player in this league. Walker Kessler kind of showed up, nice big defensive center. Jordan Clarkson made plays. They were a solid team. They were a solid team last year. So what did they do after last year? Let's get into some of our moves that we liked. Taylor Hendricks, I liked that draft pick when I was as a Piston fan, when I was watching all the draft and listening to all the draft process. This was one of the guys I wish that the Pistons would have traded down and got. Now I'm happy with who we got, but I'm excited for the Jazz fans. I like Hendricks. I think he will be good. He'll be good, like a defender / 3-and-D guy, right? Like a big 3-and-D guy. And what is going to be really fun when we watch this team is how tall they are, but not only how tall and long they are, but like the fact that you're going to have both Walker Kessler and Taylor Hendricks just there in the paint all the time, blocking shots. I think that's going to be fun to watch if you're a Utah Jazz fan. I also kind of like the John Collins move. It's sort of a flyer. They only had to give up two second-round picks or a second. I think it was a player in a second-round picks with Rudy Gay in a second round. But they didn't have to give up much. And I think Collins is worth more than what he got for. I mean, that more than what the Hawks got. So I think like the Jazz also won that trade in a sense. So it was a good flyer. Now I'm going to speak on both sides of my mouth because my least favorite move is also the John Collins trade. And again, this is relative. I tried to grasp at some stuff. I'm reaching for some stuff. But the reason why I'm speaking on both sides of my mouth here is because although I like the talent and I'm glad they took the flyer on it, I look at this roster and again, they have a lot of guys. And do they have enough minutes? And this is sort of a theme that I'm going to have throughout all these team recaps, previews. These team previews is like some of these teams rosters have a lot of young guys and they got some veterans. And it's just like, is there going to be enough minutes for everybody? I don't know. So we're going to have to see how they play that out. So I guess like I'm glad the Jazz made this move. I still think it's a positive, but there could be some negatives to it. Is like I'd rather have Hendricks in the starting lineup and just see what where they can go from there. They still have a lot of young talent on this team, and possibly could make some moves as well. But again, I'm just all about giving young players opportunities to play. And when you have sort of guys who are as the league would call them, progress stoppers. I'm kind of always nervous about that when it comes to teams with a lot of young talent. Other comments, questions, statements, concerns. My biggest question for this team is simple. What is their goal, right? What is their goal? Now, my personal viewpoint, their goal should be, let's get to the lottery. And the reason, unless if they can make a big move, but if they stay with the roster they have, how can we get into the top of the lottery? And I understand that this is a weak draft class, but we all know what's going to happen by the time March April rolls around, there's going to be some of these kids that were like, wow, people make improvements. Basketball players will make advancements from age 18 to 19, from 19 to 20. They work on their crafts. That's why they're in the NBA. That's why they're so good. So we can sit here and be like, yeah, the draft is a pretty weak draft going into this year. But by the time the year is over in college and, with the Ignite and all that stuff, the G League, there's going to be a couple favorites that like, hey, if you can be in the top of the lottery. Personally, I would rather be go tanking. I'd rather be tanking for that number one pick, whether if there's a generational talent like Wembanyama, you want to tank, but the other, if it is a weak draft, you kind of want to tank because then you get the first pick and you probably will get the one or two, you will get either the first or the second best player in the draft, or a third, depending on how you do or how you tank. Whereas if it's a deeper class, everybody's really excited about this draft. Sometimes when you pick one and you pick five, there's not much difference. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm kind of at with this draft is, can Utah, is that their goal though? Is that their goal? That's where I am with this team. Is that their goal? What is their goal? Other things I'm kind of watching out for is there going to be another big move? Lauri Markkanen, can he take another step? He looked so good last year. He took a leap last year, I felt like. Those are things I'm going to be looking out for. Comment, like questions I have about this team, but they're going to be fun to watch. I think their defense could be pretty good with Kessler and Hendricks, kind of roving about the floor, the half court. That's going to be a tough spot for teams to be in, and I think they're going to be a frisky team. With all that said, though, my prediction, I have the Utah Jazz as a lottery team. That's what I think they should do. Now, if there's a trade that presents themselves, go for it. Try to win this year. Like if they can get, if a player ends up disgruntled on a team, go for it, right? Like why not? But if this is your roster and you're going to kind of stand pat, let's go for the lottery. Let's get a guy that we can put in there and be like the focal point and they have a really good roster. If you would put like a really good player in this roster, I feel like they could be a playoff team. But they just need that one guy that they kind of like build their offense around. Like this would have been a good Damian Lillard team if you just could put Damian Lillard on this team. Anyway, that's all I got though. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Utah Jazz. Let me know what you think they're a playoff team. What should their goal be going into the season? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.